Iliad Odyssey, Book 1. The gods and council, Athena's visit to Ithaca, the challenge from Telemachus to the suitors. Tell me, O Muse, so that ingenious hero who traveled far and wide after he had stacked the face out of Troy. Many cities did he visit, and many were the nations of whose manners and customs he was acquainted. Moreover, he suffered much, I see, while trying to save his own life and bring his men safely home. But do what he might, he could not save his men. For they perished from the sun god Hyperion. Soon God prevented them from ever reaching home. Tell me too about all these things, O daughter Zeus, from who whatsoever source you may know them. So now all who escaped death and battle, or I should write, have got safely home, except Odysseus. And he, though he was longing to return to his wife and country, was detained by the goddess Calypso, who had got him into a large cave and wanted to marry him. But as years went by, there came a time when the gods settled that he should go home to Ithaca. Even then, however, when he was among his own people, his struggles were not yet over. Nevertheless, all the gods had now begun to pity him, except Poseidon, who still persecuted him without ceasing and not letting him get home. Now Poseidon had gone to the Ethiopians who had world's end, and lions who has, the one looking west and the other east. He had gone there to accept a hecatomb of sheep and oxen, and was enjoying himself at his festival. But other gods met in the house of Olympian Zeus, and seer of gods and men spoke first. At that moment he was thinking of Aegis, who had been killed by Agamemnon's son, Orestes. So he had Zeus said to the other gods, see now how men lay blame upon us gods, for what is after all nothing but their own folly. Look at Aegis, he must need to make love to Agamemnon's wife, unrighteously, and kill Agamemnon. But though he knew it would be the death of him, for I sent Hermes to warn him not to do either of these things, inasmuch as Orestes would be sure to take his revenge, but he rather wanted to return home. Hermes told him this in all goodwill, but he would not listen, and having had paid for everything in fall. Then Athena, said father son of Cronus, king of kings, and served Aegis right, and so would anyone else who does as he did, but Aegis is neither here nor there. It is for Odysseus that my heart bleeds when I think of his sufferings in the lonely secret island, far away, poor man from all his friends. It is an island covered with forest, and it is very middle of the sea, and a goddess lives there, a magician Atlas, who looks after at the bottom of the ocean, and carries the great poems that keep heaven and earth asunder. This doctor Atlas had got hold of poor unhappy Odysseus, and keeps trying by every kind of management to make him forget his home, so that he is tired of life and thinks of nothing but how he was going to see the smoke of his own chimneys. He used to take up Iliad Odyssey and Odysseus, who was before Troy. Did he not collaborate to propitiate you with many other sacrifice? Why then should he keep on being so angry with him? And Zeus said, my child, what are you talking about? Have not forget Odysseus when than whom there is no more capable man on earth, no more liberal in all his offerings than the mortal gods that live in heaven. Bear in mind, however, that Poseidon is no furious of Odysseus, but having blinded an eye of Polydamas, king of the Cyclopses, Polydamas is son to Poseidon, the nymph Medusa, daughters of sea king Orcus. Therefore, though he will not kill Odysseus outright, he foils him by preventing him from getting home. Still, let us lay our hands and heads together and see how we can help him to return. Poseidon will then be pacified, for if we are all of a mind, he can hardly stand up against us. And Athena said, son of Cronus, king of kings, and the gods now mean that Odysseus should get home. We should first send Hermes to the Ogygian island to tell Calypso that we have made up our minds and that he is to return. Even now, we are Ithaca, the powers into Odysseus' son of Telemachus. I will involve him then to hold Amphibians and assembly and study out the suitors of his mother Penelope, who persist in keeping any number of his sheep and oxen. I will let them with Sparta and to Pylos, to see if he can do anything of the
What's up, guys?
If I lose this game, I'm gonna beat the crap out of my dog.
Alright, so this is King the Hill, right? So we're gonna need a Lucio, we're gonna need
And someone stop putting unmuted, please. I'm asking a favor. I'll start your clock if you turn it on.
I can't hear anything because the diva, I can't.
I'm trying to make a YouTube video here. Can you stop, please?
Alright, let's go team, let's go team, let's go!
Subscribe to I Love Big Cunt.
Alright boys, let's see, they have a Genji. Oh, they have a Rock! Oh shit! Oh, now I have to reload. Hey Atlas, what are you watching? Are you watching anything? Can I watch too? And even when people do sometimes say that he's showing we no longer need him, we start to see him again, and now he's telling me who you are, and where you come from, telling me 10 years, what the heck took you in.
Okay, you're fucking low level. Don't stop.
Whoa, Mark, what are you doing? I was trying to mute the fucking kid! Damn! What?
What you think, bitch?
That's it, I'm muting you. Alright guys, don't trickle in, okay?
You're not a mute.
I know how to mute, I just muted him.
I think this is the one doing some card.
Yeah, we're trickling in, we're trickling in. No. Group up. This feels like a casual. We're trickling in. Don't come back here.
Man, I'm good with Reaper.
Why does everyone fucking want to be Reaper? He's such an easy class to play. Everyone can play fucking Reaper. Shut up, bitch! I'ma mute you. Damn, y'all niggas trick all day. What the fuck?
They don't say that.
Shut up. You're not my mom.
But for poor all the
Damn, what the hell? The row has
Who the hell you say? Who said you can get on the computer? Get off of it. I just turned it off. Dude, I turned the computer on and I can turn it back on. Turn it off! Go on a tablet or the other platform. No, it's not. That lag. Turn it off! GG's for Reaper.
Will this be our first loss?
Yeah, pretty much, I think so. Okay guys, I wanna play serious, let's do this, alright? Come on, we got this boys, we got this. Let's go!
Weak boy.
What you say, boy? I'll fuck you up right now, boy, I'll fuck you up right now. Me, what's your address? I come right now.
Wait for scissors.
Good job,
I
team.
was going Roadhog yesterday, man. Now playing with Marco on fire. And then you left me. Like, what the heck?
I didn't do it.
What? Yeah.
Damage boost Brian, if you're gonna fly up to him, tell me. I mean, not tell me. What? I thought you were mercy. Yeah. Who's it? Tracer harassing me.
You should take Tracer out the game. Take annoying. What the heck?
She's in the front cover of the game. I don't think they'll do that.
What the heck? Mercy's dead. Thank you.
We're playing
what the heck? I know he's level 25, 26. That's what it is.
That's why I said it. That's why I'm giving up on this game.
Dude, shut up.
That's your television, Grandma. That's not mine. It's not gonna work. Why? I'll turn it off and then you can run.
I saved it, I lied. Well, someone lied. Oh shoot, they're coming. Wow, these healers. This is the worst game ever. 10 eliminations behind you.
You're the worst player ever.
Dude, I got gold elimination. Shut up. Dude, I have like 50. Don't tell me what to do.
Don't tell me what to do.
No, Mercy, what? She was supposed to be dead.
Man, we could have taken that point.
I got some stupid hook, but okay.
What kind of game is this, bro? I don't want to show my 2 stars.
This game is called Overwatch.
I'm gonna buy a gold weapon for Reaper. I got 3,030.
What? We almost killed the Zarya. The place is right behind us. She's harassing us.
Oh no, I missed it. I hate Lucio. He could die in a hole.
Damn, you're chasing me.
I feel like you're not trying, Marco.
I am trying.
Nah, when you try, you be getting so much kills and stuff.
I'm a support.
Still, you said you killed a support.
I got 6. Now 7.
Dude, Lucio just killed me. Twice, I hate Lucio.
Ah, dude, this Tracer.
Yes, yes, I killed the stupid. Sorry. Oh no, that was fail. Oh my god. Yeah, you better use it.
She's solo red.
I hear Reaper. Sneak attack. Told you. I think this is a pretty good time. Oh,
Oh, what?
Solar resurrection again. Nobody got the ult shit. Ult, still not gonna ult down.
Probably if you say you're gay, you're probably gonna back away from me.
What the fuck?
So we're playing with some weak ass people.
I know the Mercy's at level 10. Like 30. And these are like 26. What a noob.
Okay, that was our first loss.
Dude, that's how you play me.
Whose he or she is a bunch of born future and understanding and accomplishments. So I will give her up if I must her.
I already beat that whole game.
But you must find me a prize instead when I alone among the guys shall be with that one. This is not about
That was not it.
that my prize is
Can't with that.
and it pleases answer Miss also waitress, riches beyond all mankind. How shall that be
I'm not one of these lines.
and so from which to pick one, those who think from cities have been awarded. We cannot disavow all of those.
I went down 50,000 ranks. Figure if all for a go.
Holy, that went down.
I lost.
Hella. I'm at 2,194.
Yeah, I went back to what I used to be.
Shall rue my coming, that this we will take your anchor for the present. Let us draw a ship into the sea and find a crew for her expressively. Let us put the town on board and let us send Cassius also further. Let some chief man among us be man neither Ajax or Idomeneus, or yourself, son of Peleus, mighty warrior that you are, that we may offer sacrifices and appease the anger of the god. Achilles scowled at him and answered, You are speaking insolence and also gain. With what heart can any of the Achaeans do your bidding either on parade or in open fighting? I came not warring here for the Trojans had on me. I had no quarrel with them. They had not raided my cattle, nor my horses, nor cut down my harvest on the rich plains of the Iliad. For between me and them is a great space, both mountain and sounding sea. We have followed you, servants' sons, for your pleasure, not ours, to gain satisfaction from the Trojans for your shameless self and from us. You forget this, and present rob me of the prize for which I have toiled, which the sons of the Achaeans have given me. Never when the Achaeans sat in rich state of the Trojans do I receive so good a prize as you do, though it is in my hands that I do the better part of the fighting. When the sharing comes, your share is far the largest, and I forsooth must go back to my ships. Take what I can get and be thankful when my labor of fighting is done. Now therefore I shall go back to Phthia. It will be much better for me to return home with my ships, for I will not stay here dishonored to gather gold and substance for you. And Agamemnon answered, Fly if you will, I shall make you no prayers to stay you. I have others here who will do me honor, and above all is useful word of counsel. There is no king here so hateful to me as you are, for you are ever quarrelsome and ill affected. Let though you be brave, was it not heaven that made you so? Go home then with your ships and comrades, so warded over the Myrmidons. Not care neither for you nor for your anger. That's what I do. Since Phoebus Apollo is taking Chrysides from me, and I shall send her with my ship and my followers, but I shall come to your tent and take your own prize, Ricius, that you may learn how much stronger I am than you are. And that another may fear to set himself up as horrible or comparable with me. But some Peleus was furious, and his heart within his shaggy breast was divided, but he dropped his sword, pushed over his side, and killed the son of Atreus, or to restrain himself and check his anger. While he was thus in two minds and was drawing his mighty sword from his hammer, Athena came down from heaven for Hera had sent her in love. She bore to them both, and sees the son of Peleus by his yellow hair, visible to him alone. For while the others no man could see her, Achilles turned to Medes, and by the fire that flashed from her eyes, at once knew that she was Athena. Why are you here, said he, after that he was bearing used to see the fight Agamemnon, son of Atreus, let me tell you, and it shall surely be, he shall pay for his insolence with his life. And Athena said, I come from heaven, if you will hear me, said they, you stay your anger, Hera has sent me, who cares for both of you alike. Cease from this rolling, and do not drive your sword rail at him, if you will, and your railing will not be vain, for I tell you, it shall surely be that you shall hereafter receive gifts 3 times as splendid by reason of his present insult. Hold therefore and obey. Goddess answered Achilles, however angry a man may be, he must do as you command him. This will be best for the gods ever hear the prayers of him who has obeyed them. He stayed his hand with sword hilted his sword and thrust it back into his hand that Athena obeyed him. Then she went back to Olympus among the other gods into the house of Hades bearing Zeus. But the son of Peleus again began railing at the son of Atreus, for he was still enraged, whined by her. He cried with the face of a dog and the heart of the hen. You never dared to go out to the host and fight, nor yet with our chosen men in this new cave. You shun this as you do that itself. You had rather go around and rob prizes from any man who contradicts you. You devour your people, you will kingdom over people. Otherwise, son of Atreus, henceforward you would insult no man. Therefore I say and swear to a great oath, nay, by this my scepter, which shall scratch neither leaf nor shoot from blood anew from the day on which it is that its parent stand upon the mountains and the axe script if I believe in God. Now the sons of the Achaeans bear it as judge and guardians of the priest of heaven. So surely and solemnly do I swear that hereafter they shall live only from Achilles and shall not find him. And the day of your distress, when your men fall down, that murderous man Hector, you shall not know how to help them, and shall render a heart ready for the hour when you offer insult of the leaders of the Athenians. But the son of Peleus answered his lord, the spread scepter on the ground, took his seat while the son of Atreus was beginning fiercely from his place upon the other side. Then uprose the smooth-tongued master, the facile speaker of the Pelians, and the words fell from his lips, sweeter and honey. 2 generations of men born and bred in Pylos had passed away under his rule, and he was now reigning over the third of all the sincerity and goodwill. Therefore he addressed them thus: of truth he said, a great sorrow has befallen the Achaean land, so began the sons would rejoice and Trojans be glad at heart that they could hear this war between you two who are still excellence in fight and counsel. I am older, and neither of you therefore be guided by me. Moreover, I have no familiar friend of men, whom greater than you are, and they do not disregard my counsel. Marriage should not be false of men as were false in the last shepherd of his people, or King Exadius, a godlike Polyphemius, and the Theseus, son of Aegeus, peer of the immortals. These are the Macus and the born on the earth. Macus were they Macus times mountain savages, and utterly overthrew them. I came from distant Pylos, and was at that moment that they would have come, and I thought as it was need to do. Not that I would be withstand them, they heard my words and were persuaded by them. So be it also with yourselves. For this is the more excellent that we be strong and faithful this power of the sons of Athenians. I have already given her Achilles, and you Achilles strive not further with the king. For no man who by the race of Zeus was a scepter like honored Agamemnon. You are strong, how God is for your mother Agamemnon is stronger than you, for he has no people. So each would shut your anger. Through the day of battle is the tower of strength for the Athenians, and Agamemnon answered, Sir, all that you have said is true, but this fellow must need to become our lord and master.
Atlas, would you mind leaving, please?
And this shall surely hardly be. Granted that the gods have made him a great warrior, and they also did him like the sleep of Rachel. Achilles interrupted him. I should be a mean coward, he cried, were I to give it to you in all things, order other people about me, not me. For I shall bring the wander. Furthermore, I say, and lay my stand to the heart, that shall put you in the name of this world, those that take away this. And so that day, and they put all outside my spirit, shall prove the ring of my first. Try that others may see with you, my spear shall be ready with their blood. When they have quarreled, thus hungrily, they rose and broke up the of the Athenians, the son of Peleus, sometimes handsome just as on the Mayotis, and his company by Agamemnon, drew that's the one of Walter and Joseph, of the oarsmen, he exhorted Theseus on the board, and sent them over, and poured God, and Odysseus from his hand, that's the on board, on sail, and then plays over the sea, but it's not Atreus, and the people fear by themselves, so they fear by themselves, and kept up the sea, and had to break the shit out of them,
Oh, I got one. I'm looking back. Alright, so that roadhog is trying to walk around and sing squishies in the back. Watch out. Oh, there's a McCree up top. Up the jump. Oh, I'm an idiot. I didn't know there was nobody there. And the people died and take on one another, but others went every year. Among the high radicals over the Asians, at last year, in the forest of his knowledge played the house of locals as a whole, and it was over watch out, asshole. Fuck, man.
People in the sound.
Loaded the mass into his place and rigged the ship to place where they would have their line. They passed out from the trains when they passed the horses. They then left outside the conversation and lightened the hands on Kurt Pollard, craziest, also to deliver her into the hands of the crisis, said the King Agamemnon had sent me to bring you back to your child. On behalf of families that we made for the case of the God, he has now brought sorrow upon the Argives. Some pieces of bodies on top of my name faces, lay on them with the wood fire. Lord wine over him, lie the young men stood near him, with thy bronze spits in their hands, with the firearms were burned, they tasted inward meats, they fed the dust I saw, with the pieces upon the spits until they were done and through them up. Then we had finished our work, and the feast was ready. They ate it, and every man had his fair, so that they were all satisfied. As soon as they had enough to eat, the pieces were bursting out of the wine and water and holy brand, and giving every man his brief offering. Thus all day long, the song, ending and chanting the joyous piano, and of the God is your pleasure in their voices, the sun went down the monarch, they lay their hands to sleep by the stern cables of the ship, and the child of morning rosy fingered on a beer hot day, that means that sail for the host of the evenings, Apollo sent them up their wind, so they raised their masts and twisted their white sails aloft. As the sail never with the wind, the ship flew through the deep blue water, and the foam hissed against her bows as she sped onward. Many were white shirting hosts of Vikings, they drew the vessel full, high into that on the sand, just after strong crops beneath her, and worked their way to their own tents and ships. There's news about the heavy ships and nurses too. He was not an honorable assembly in sky and Sally, not forth to find, but not at his own heart, spinning over battle and warpath. Now after 20 days, the Lord was going back to my body, so this was just like the he was letting me go, and very hungry, we should do see, and went through great and made room to all of us, which done my son friends, to my own house, and the duties. She was set herself in the building, and with her left hand sense of knees, while with her right to keep acting under the chin, and we saw himself. Father is used to every service and word, even though the mother's mother, and he honored myself as often to be comforted, so that he had done my tender son, did not take his rise and keep her, honored him that yourself, only in full of counsel, and I should be so short, you could have been myself to the Lord, it is to be given, as you sat down, I saw and felt his knees and he sat down 7 times, and I the house, and she got my house, and got more sister, I did not consider that I don't know how greatly you understand me, and as Zeus was most trouble and answered, I shall not trouble, if you second fall in O'Hara, for she told the Lord who was cross and sees it, even after the Lord lay on the earth, and physically give his burdens, but right now, let's just find out, I will consider the matter, and will win out as he does, just not find out, and he will be able to the same call, so I will go, and I will go on the Lord, and I will be my ceremony. As he spoke, the silver of shoulders went roused, and Ambrosio walked straight on the left, so that's what is true. And thus laid their plans, they fought the ceasing,
That's how I go.
The large rose from their seats before the coming of their sire. Not one of them dared remain sitting, but all stood up as he came among them. They had to check the seat, which is second. The blue and water still should be so two hands went over and just crowd. The blood that didn't produce his constant act, the always is so many things, and never get home, because the water you must not accept to be the part of our councils. You are not that you would find it hard to understand them. When it is considered easy for them to get on the line, it will be consumed and have to keep the matters to myself. You must not find that questions. Yourself on something. What are you talking about? I and my questions that I let you have your own learning everything so I have strongly given the whole that anxieties. That is in talking to the works of those who are even at all the needs of some way. I believe that for many months and people do the things and tell people are half of things. Why since you have to do nothing that you suspect me and find out. You would say nothing about it. First of all, only slightly more. And it was a part of the big bank that I didn't, as you say. I mean, I was so bad and only I couldn't care. But I mostly guess I lay my hands upon without you. So I didn't have to do nothing. I'm just there understanding that the purpose of the and sat down in silence and I couldn't do things to that. The house was used to put it up for business. He had to try and pacify his mother Hera. Because he told us that he would be too much of anyone. That's all from our seats. He can do so, for he is found strong, so that he can win and do what he can do. I got you. I able to set heat and make the rest of it. I'll be really should be very sorry to see you do a passion. I'm pretty about my feet. I do not help, but there is no standing into Zeus. Once before, we understand that he fought one of the before me from the heavenly castle. All day long, from one till he was on home, to Smile at us, and she smiled and she took a cup of her son's hands, but then let me see reach to make your conversing wall and spread the ground and then the ground to the bank. And the blessed ones laughed out the black cries of the hearts as they saw him bustling and out the heavenly mansion. Bustling was lying down, so bringing down the Sunday feasted, and everyone had his full share, so they were all satisfied. I was trapped as leader, and nieces lifted others, voices calling and answering one another. When the sun was low, we felt like they left homes away.
Shit, that roadhog is fucking giving me great.
So it was a motor from the bed, and usually we slept, and then I got onto it, we went to sleep before it was really from that side.
Yeah, fuck that roadhog.
Zeus sends a line in Agamemnon with their own horses using a symbol, and proposes the sound of nine of Tiger. In the end, they march at night into a lot of the equal Trojan horses. Now the other gods and all warriors on the guns front, it was found that Zeus was wakeful, but he was simply happy on the Hercules and still what the humans.
Bullshit, okay.
So he told them that he would take the lion and deliver his weakness until tonight Agamemnon. He said to him, reward it as I have been felt into taking that simply over arms. It can shall be true. There are no longer divided councils among the gods. Hera has wrapped them separate own mind and both besides the Trojans. The good ones will
True is fucking 11.
Honored above all his counselors and said, you are sleeping, son, because one has the law of his powers, and so much other care upon his orders, to dark his sleep.
I need you guys to help keep that healer on healing.
Has wrapped up the root of their mind. The Lord has kings at the end of Zeus. Remember this, you need to wait. Let it go back to escape you. You bring the blessings and power things that truly have to be accomplished. He felt on the day as he was at 6 p.m. But he was told that was the light source. He had never and sort of like without some privilege that he would work with the dying message. So they were his ears. So he sat upright and put on his solid shirt. So there and over this is pretty cool. He found his sandals under his clothing and slung his shoulders red sword. Without his shoulders, then he took the imperial sign of his father and sallied forth vicious Athenians. The others on and now waiting their way to the Olympus that she might hear what he sees from 200 mortals. And look, since the fighters round the ball, people that serve for them, and people waiting for all the pieces on meeting of the voters, and the super Mr. Peter Pirates, and the Harrison will be laid for the also for them. My friend, you are simply saying which is what has that is supposed to much other than upon shoulders to not speak. Hearing everyone's side messenger for Zeus, it will be not near. See that face of for you to see. To this, all the places of their arms, will be something good. They're not alone with the dying councils, and only for us, and us back on others with one hand. The Lord has his own hands. Zeus will enter this, the fear of them is not alone. Let us now, therefore, all of the sons of Athens, that it will be well, and I should first assign them. And it said this, and I will tell them to fly with their ships, the leading others who are more than those who defend their kings. He then sat down and nestled to the palace, but also to the original destinies. My head is sitting princes and counselors of the house. I and the Athenians have also been with the pulse, and I am with it. The Iliad has seen the foremost man among us. He was at the after his people in their arms. For this came out of the road master, and others who suffered kings rose with him in obedience to the word of Agamemnon. But people pressed forward to hear the sword of Athens has suddenly come some kind of faith. He chose and called the sound among the shepherds, and from massive clusters even studied the mighty others before the ships, and since they were suddenly from themselves upon the wide water shore, while among them ran wildfire river, as we were of Zeus, urging them, Chapter 4. Thus they gathered in a come out, from that confusion, and the earth groaned under the hand of man, as people smoked their faces, nine girls and found the among them, the state of all, and different listeners of the things down, that they were the second vision, and system fire, it was holy, this was the word of the priestess, who gave it to Zeus and Cronus. Zeus gave it to Hermes, the slave of Argus, who died and guardian King Hermes, gave it to Phelps, it should not be carried here, and Phelps Argus, shepherd of his people, Atreus would die, and his turn not to believe that anymore. He might be over the all others and I. Living down the separate he does not us. My friends who said to us, service of Ares, a hand having happened with Harry and Henry. Lady the son promised and acts your time. Before returning, great, he was talking about it in New Year, and he but the lives of my people. So the Lord Zeus has only 9 paths. He commit life under his powers to the Lord. Only the sorry together after him, because I want to separate my family and many his men fewer number than themselves. But as next the hand is, letting his men fewer number than themselves, and not inside. They have been another destruction inside of all their householders, and we might hands and further and hands desired have proven householder, before I have their line, we are so waiting more members that follow and look at here, but I
What am I even doing? Save job. Save job. Oh, well. Not really. Wow, why is my accuracy so shit? This is bullshit. Where we at? Where we at?
James and
Roadhog is nothing but a big bully, man. Shit. Nah, come this way, people. No! I almost dropped the beat, y'all! Get it!
The student whose own needs of honor and the sweater whether we will remain service to him or no, at least visit a much better man than he is and see how he has supported, allowing him with his fines and keeping himself until he's tasted neatly and shows no time.
Why did they snare some bullshit?
The Saratus, my Odysseus, and once once up to him with deep concern, check your blue tongue, there it is. So, not the word heard, try not the princes when you have not come back to you. There is no value creature come before Troy, but the sons of Eupheus drop this chapter about kings, and neither rebel them nor keep harking back going home. We do not yet know how things are going to be, nor whether the kings are to return with good success for the people. How dare you gather everyone because it happens, have a word of prizes. They tell you therefore, and it shall surely be that I again get through prophets of nonsense. I will either forfeit my own head, and be no more for others or rockets, or I will take you to the second so you will blow back success. Obviously, reasoning with this snap about packing orders, so be rough and tell all weeping, gold and scepter raised up like we are just actually sat down, fighting anything, looking foolish as you laugh at your from nice, but people sorry for them, that they laugh heartily, and one of which his neighbor saying, oh, Odysseus has done me a good thing air, now in praising partial that
Cool. I don't need that. Mine's 42.
That sounds like a fucking thinking Roadhog.
Yeah.
Oh, real fuck. Up top, McCree and 76. Alright, let's just group up again as a group of 6. Step back. Step back. Step back. No! McCree up top, watch out, please. You gonna remember this, Lucio, motherfucker?
Let's go.
Okay.
You're the best Lucio I've ever played with. Holy crap.
I swear to God, thank you, bro.
We got one more.
I've been quite busy lately, or else I would have been done with my placement matches. like the last 3 weeks of this season, I was playing like quick play.
Nevertheless, I always have a weapons just put together. And also, because honestly, it is roughly on all bonus that happens at the Philippines. These were welcome to hire and roughly always bonus themselves in the
Watch out for those hooks, Rody. I mean, I'm on the side. Shit, they have a chunky NO reset that is not going to be good for us. There's a flanking McCree, watch out. Roadhog's in the middle. Okay, wow, 18 and 18. I've somehow come back from the fucking graveyard.
I'm 41 and 19 right now, holy crap.
The first 2 rounds, that Roadhog had such a boner for me. There's nothing I could do with this guy. Shit, that was terrible.
Your ultimate actually saved me.
Nice! That Winston landed just in time. Oh, that was so beautiful to watch. I was like, Sunyata, get the hell out of there! No. Reaper's down. Shit, Zinni's down. Reaper's out of the mech. Diva is down. Our Diva's out of her mech, watch out. Shit, I can't get out.
Oh crap. Come on. Come on, Winston, make it in time.
Diva right. Oh, wow. Eliminated it somehow. Good job, squad. Shit, that's not good. Get out of there. Get out of there. Holy shit.
We just need this.
Oh, 76 is down here. God damn it again?
Great, the whole team's here now. Oh my gosh.
Good fucking job, squad.
Good job, guys.
Which is divided among the species of Wundus, Atlas and the Kagman race that lies upon the top. You made by Tibolinus, son of Hercules, Asilotia,
Oh, shit.
Oh, dang.
And Marius brought 3 ships from Simon, Nereus, who was the SS man, that came up under Iliad, with all the bounds, after this Heavius, but he was a man of no substance, and had us all, the following, those that have Nesirius, Caractacus, and Palthus, and Falls, and the city of Eurypylus, and the Caledonian islands, these are manned by the Deiphes, and Anxipus, 2 sons of the king of Atlas-Atman, the son of Hercules, and then with them with the 30 ships, those again with the Pelagio, Carlos, Carlos, Salafi, Trachis, and those at the Thai, Hellas, Alana, Fairwind, who were near Midlands, Hellas, and Athens, and 30 ships, who were Hercules was in command, but they mastered compassion of war, as much as was never come to Marvel, and Hercules say, by issues, students, out of Blossom Girl, Theseus, who he had seen from those Atlas-Atman, that is one great girl, which had sang the Atlas-Atman, and had overthrown Man's hand, after sons of the king Adenor, son of Salus, or first sake Achilles, so reading that here long he was a king to join them, and those that had Phyleus, the fiery nose of Atlas, century leader, and the mother chief, influenced the Odyssey, and Edwin and the last one of her ass hands, and these days the Atlas, having Captain Navi as he had lived, alive, but he was not I under the earth, he had left the life behind, Phyleus had his chiefs in sorrow, his house was only half finished, where he was sleeping without any water, by the people of the nations upon the sword of Troy, still though his people more their shield, and were not without a leader, but by Atlas, the race of Ares, marveled, and he was still not Atlas, and of the rich of the sea, who was still not Atlas, and his own brother, the Carthage of the last, all the younger Atlas, being at once in older and more aliens, several of the people that had leader, though they won and they had lost, which and their unimportant ships, and those that held very either floating lake with Booby, Malafay, and the others to the all of us. These much holding ships were led by Illuminus, son of Adrantius, whom Attitus, and loveliest of the daughters of Elias. Hamna had a Methanian Pharaoh, and a Mellow, and Rick all along. The ladies were led by the small archer, and they were sending ships each with 50 horsemen. 100 archers with boxes was lying in great pain in the islands of Romulus, where sons of the Indians left him, for even doing that poisonous poison, they had like sleeping song, with all soon, did the Argives come to know that his people, though they felt his lost not leaderless for no bound, but as your son of Elder of me, set them in array. Those again that picked out the stone region of Italy, and then that battle also the city of those named Ritus, he was made by 2 sons of Asclepius, so the art of healing the battle of Odius, and Machiavel, and they were the king of Epicius. The men moreover are Arminius, and would have their with these those and Elanastrius, with the white crest of the Titus, these were led by Euphonius, the son of Eudamal, and with them and their teams room 40 ships, those are Alarissa, and Graiatani, and Olfi, and Helle, and from the city of Ulosa, and who bring the Holy Provinces, who was leader, who was son of Epimetheus, who was son of Zeus himself, the Hippocrate of Omega, more than Epimetheus, on the day when he took revenge and mountain savages and broke them from the Mount Helion to the Epic of Thebes, the Polyphemus was not so in command, but he was of Leonasus, the race of Ares, and was the son of Chronolysis, the son of Caneus, and these were the king of 40 ships, who were Leonasus, 2 and 20 ships was the Pegasus, and was followed by the Pegasus, and the valiant Heraunity, who brought back to the wintry Urbana, and followed the lines around the lovely river Cetitarus, which sends its waters in the Pegasus. They did not mingle with their silver lilies, the Pegasus were followed on the top of them like oil, in the branch of the thread of the Orcus, and of the river Styx, of the Magnetus and Carthagus, son of Phaethron, those commanders, they did were that dwelt in the river of Pegasus, men carried on Porthos, who is afoot, and their leader with him, they came 40 ships, such as chiefs of princes of arms, who were there, Muse was the foremost, rather other man or horse, who among those had followed after sons of Atreus, of the horses of the sons of the son of Phaethon, by the Fawn, the Titus, and they were driven by the Illuminus, or one of the fleets of spirits. They were the same with each in color and perfectly matched in height. Apollo, the silver bow, had written in her both of the mares and Carabas and Ares and Battle, of the nephew Jackson and Telamon, was much foremost of so long as Achilles and Romantic, but Achilles excelled him, and greatly also better horses, but Achilles, now holding the witness, is just behind the reason of his quarrel with Agamemnon, and his people passed their time upon the seashore, throwing discs and hanging with spears, and arrow, and archery. The horses stood each like his own chariot, chanting orders and wild celery. The chariots were housed under cover, but after their owners, for lack of leadership, wandered hither and thither, among the host, and left not forth to fight. Most large of the host like consuming fire, and the earth groaned beneath them. When the Lord of thunder is angry and lashes a lion at Capiasus among the enemy, wherever they say Capiasus lies, even so with the earth ground beneath them, they say over the plain, and now it was fleeing the wind, the Sacred Zeus and Capiatus among the curtains, were gathered in assembly, holding them at Radian's gates, and Iris came close of the rams, leading with the voice of our son, Autolycus, who gave completed the station at Washington. But the short on the film of Iliad is to look out for any salad that he can in his likeness. I was spoke, saying, old man, we talk kindly as in time of peace, while war is at hand. I have been conveyed a battle and never yet saw such a host as they now advancing. They are crossing the plains to attack the city as thick as leaves, or as the sands of the sea. Hector, I charge you above all others, as I say, these are the many allies dispersed about the city of Priam, from distant places, and speaking diverse tongues. Therefore let each chief give orders to his own people, sending them severally on ready and leading them forth to battle. Thus she spoke, but Hector knew that was the goddess, and at once broke up the assembly. The men flew to arms while the gates were open, and people thronged through them, forcing foot with the tramp of grateful multitude. Now there is a high mound before the city, rising by itself upon the plain, and forth the Iliad. Let the gods know it is the town of Iliad. Their Trojans and their allies of Atlas forged Priam's son, where Hector of the gleaming helmet commanded the Trojans with him, were arrayed by them far in great number, and those valiant of those who were longing for the fray. The Dardanians were led by the brave Aeneas, and with the Aphrodite, Lord had questions, when she, goddess of those she was, had a lane with him upon the mountains of Iliad. Ahab is not alone, for with him were the two sons of Angela, Arachelaus and Acamas, most skilled mounts of war. They had dwelt in Tyre, under the lowest spurs of Mount Ida. Men of substance, who drank the limpid waters of Aeschylus, and who are Trojan blood, these were led by Pandarus, son of Agamemnon, who Apollo had taught to use the bow. They had held Argus Rhea, the line of Essex, Lycia, and the high mountains of Tyria. These were led by Abrastus and Amphius, whose breastplate was linen. These were sons of Merox of Percote, who excelled in all kinds of divination. He told them not to take part in the war, but they gave them a leave for feet orphans instruction. They had called upon Percote and Brechus, and Cistus, and Hypus, and Parasope. They were led by Asius, son of Heraclitus, a brave commander, Asius, the son of Heraclitus, whom his powerful daughter, and they steeds of the Greek, they comes from the group of Celius, and brought from Odyssey. Hippothobus led the tribes of the Palladian and Syrian, who dwelt in the Palace Versa, Hippothobus, and the Phoebus of the race of Ares, two sons of the Palladian, Alexius, son of Tesimus. Acamas, the warrior, Arius, commanded the Thracians, and those that came from beyond the mighty stream of the Hephaestus, son of Trozenus, son of Stelos, was captain of the Sicilian steersmen, cried Archimedes of the Boeotian archers from distant Amidon, by the broad waters of the river Anxious, the fairest and flow upon the earth, the fat Ligonians were commanded by the sun-hearted Laomines, the Mantia, the mules were in wild and herds, these were they that count, Cyporus, and the country round Sesamos, with the cities by the river Parthenaeus, Chroma, Caglius, and Lofty Earthman, Odius, and Epistopros, their captains over the Hephaeston from distant Galilee, there are mounds of silver, Christmas and Animus, the outer of wine missings, but his skill and order, and they will not to save him from destruction. Pretty cool, I have their sons of Lucas in the river, where he slew also of the Trojans before Ephesus, began a noble Ascanius, with other Pharaohs from the far country of Asania, for good for eager foot, Mescilus and Hesippus, commanded by the Meonians, sons of Ptolemies, boys of him of the Garganian light, these led the Meonians who dwelt under Mount Walls. Castus led the Parthians and strange speech, these held Melissus, and the wooded mountains of Orpheus, with the water of the river Mazinder, and the lofty crest of Mount Malachite. These were commanded by Nicias and Athens, Marcus, the very sons of Nonian, who became the fact of the bull about him, like the girl that he was. His bold was a no to save him, for he filled with the hand of his sons of Aegis, and Achilles bore away the bull. Sargon and Galactus, and by the Lycians from the distant land by the edgy waters of Xanthus. Book 3. Alexandria, also called Paris, challenges Menelaus, Helen, and Priam with you, 18 storming the wall, from the covenant. Paris and Menelaus fight, and Paris is worsted. Aphrodite carries him off to save him, seen between him and Helen. When the companies were thus arrayed, each under its own captain, the Trojans advanced as a flight of wild fowl or flames that screamed overhead, when rain and winter drive them over the flowing waters of Oceanus, to bring death and destruction to the Pygmies, and they wrangle in the air as they fly. The Achaeans marched silently in a high heart, and minded to stand by one another, as when the south wind spreads a curtain of mist upon the mountain tops, bad for shepherds, but better than night for thieves, and a man can see no further than he can throw a stone. Even so rose the dust from under their feet, as they made all speed over the plain. When they were close up with one another, Paris came forward as champion on the Trojan side. On his shoulders he bore the skin of Panther, his bow and his sword, and he brandished his spears, sharp with bronze, as a challenge to the bravest of the Achaeans to meet him in single fight. Menelaus saw him thus stride out before the ranks, and spied a hungry lion that lights on carcass of some goat or one stag, and devours it there and then. The dogs and youths set upon him, he thus was Menelaus glad. When his eyes got sight of Paris, what he deemed that now he should be revenged. He swung therefore from his chariot glad, in his suit of armor. Paris followed as he saw Menelaus come forward, and shrank in fear of his life under cover of his men, as one who saw his back uprighted, trembling and pale, when he comes suddenly upon a serpent in some mountain glade. Even so did Paris plunge into the throng of Trojan warriors, terror-stricken at the sight of the son of Atreus. When Hector upbraided him, Paris, said he, evil-hearted Paris, fair to see, but woman mad and false of tongue, would that you had never been born, or that you had died unwed. Better so than live to disgrace and look askance as, will not that Athenians mock at us, while they say we have sent one to champion us, who despair, to see that there is neither wit nor courage? Did you not, such as you are, get your following together and sail beyond the seas? Did you not, from a far country, carry off a lovely woman wedded among the people of warriors, bring sorrow upon your father, save your whole country, but to kill your enemies, and hang down a shamefacedness to yourself? And now can you dare face us, and learn what manner of man he is, whose wife you have stolen? Where indeed would be your leader, your one breaks your only walks in your favor. When we're lying, thus before him, the Trojans are weakening people. Ere this you would have a short tombs for the wrongs you have done them. And Paris answered, Hector, for people just. You are hard as the axe which is shipwright people's act his word, and cleaves the timber to his liking. As the axe is in hand, so keen as the edge of your sword. So comes me mouth with the gifts of that boy, and after that he has given me. They are precious, let not the man disdain them. But the gods give them if they were minded, and I would have for asking that you would have you battle with malice. Did the Trojans make things take their suits while he and I fight who midst of heaven for all her love. Let him shall be victorious to be proved, and better man take woman as he shall have. To bear him and their home. The blessed rest swear to solemn covenants of peace whereby you Trojans shall stay here in Troy, while the others go home to outwards, and land of Athenians. When Hector heard this, he was glad, and went about among the Trojan ranks, swinging his spear by middle to keep them back, and then all sat down at his bidding. Let the Athenians still aim at him with stones and arrows until Agamemnon shouted to them, saying, "O our guys, shoots not sons of Athenians, Hector desires to speak." They ceased to taking aim, and were still, whereon Hector spoke, "Hear from my mouth," said he, "Trojans and Athenians, and saying with Paris, for whom the fall has come about, because the Trojans and Athenians lay their armor upon the ground, while he and Menelaus fight in the midst of eager Helen and all her wealth. Let him who shall be victorious and prove to be better, and take the woman and all she has, to bear them to open home. But let the rest swear to a swollen compliment of a peace. Thus he spoke, and they shall hold their peace. Some now last with a loud battle cry oppressed none, and that he said to me too, for it is I am the most aggrieved. I gain the pardon of the Athenians and Trojans is at hand as though it may be. Seeing how much I suffered for quarrel with Paris, and wrong that he did to me. Let him who shall die, die, and let others fight no more. Bring them 2 lambs of white ram and a black ewe for earth and sun, and we will bring forth their oath of Zeus. Moreover, he shall decree and come that he may swear to come against himself, for his sons are high handed and oaths of trust, and the oaths of Zeus must not be transgressed with any men. Young men's minds are light as air, but when an old man comes, he looks before and after, deeming that which shall be Paris upon those times. The Trojans and Athenians were glad when they heard this great they thought that they should have now at rest. They broke into their chariots, swords of rings, beyond them, and put on their armor, light down upon the ground, and hooks the word now eager to them. After 10 messengers to say to their lions and to bid them come, and I remember not in to catch the other lion from the ships at the Agamemnon had said, meanwhile here is what the hell in the forest, and my wife, son of Angelo, son of Angelo, and Mary Leonidas, the Paris of Beyond's daughters. She found in her living room working as a great whale of purple lint on which she had embroidered the battles between Trojans and Athenians, that Ares had made them fight for her sake. Iris then came close up to her and said, "Consider, I would see the strange doings of the Trojan Athenians." So now they had been warring upon the plain and lost the battle, but now they had left off fighting, leaning upon their shields, sitting still with their spears pointed beside them. Paris and Menelaus are going to fight about yourself, and you are to be the wife of him who is the victor. Thus will be honest and heaven's heart here. After the former husband received her parents, she threw a white mantle over her head and hurried from her room. Weeping up, went from up alone, attended by 2 of her handmaids, after that, the other Pythias and Clytemnestra, and straightway they were at Scapian gates. The 2 sages who put on and as were elders of the people were seated at Scapian gates, of Priam, Appios, Theomachus, Latus, and Cyprippius, and Picaphon, and the rest of the armies. These were 2 old and time, they were fluent orators, and sang to the tower like sick goddess, that struck, as the humble those of the high tree and the wood. When they saw coming together, cannot be somebody sitting one another's one, that the Trojans and Trojans are looking so all things to the ones models and back so therefore she be her and what people that saw the rest after the rest of the end, they were drawn out. My child said he, take your seats in the country, that you may see your former husband, your dudes, and know your prince. I lay no blame upon you, it is God's not evil and blame. It is they go by that terrible war, and tell me then who is younger, keep cheaper, so great and good. I have seen men told by a head, but none so comely answered, well, sure, you must be a king. Sir, answered Father, my husband, dear, in my eyes, with that I showed that I have company with my younger son, for from my bridal chamber, my friends, my darling mother, and my companions of my brother, but it was not to be true, and my lot is that one not tears and sorrows. For as you question the hero, you ask him, I'm not, son of Petrius, of 18 brave soldier, brother, and I surely as I be placed in my friend, myself, more than my life, he said, thank you, son of Petrius, how do you I see that 18 such a picture you before. When I was in Tiberia, I saw some horsemen, the people of Petrius, and of my regiment, we were camping on the banks of Tiberias. I was their ally with them, I was on tears, playing instantly, and there was some of the Athenians, and their next look upon Odysseus, he said, who is that little brother of Agamemnon, but farther across the destined forest, his armor is laid upon the ground, his couch and comes with the ranks of some great people, he ran over and his and Helen asked answered, he is Odysseus, a man of great character, son of Laertes, who is born from the and his sons and manners of instead of heaven. Understand, for sure. Matter of just between Odysseus must be and go back yourself and Menelaus with him. I received them in my own house, and therefore filled up them my exciting conversation. When they stood in the assembly of the Trojans, Menelaus was about her shoulder. But one thing about Odysseus and more than presence. After time they lived and measured in the seat of Menelaus, ran with on the tongue. They did not say much, but man of words, but he so heard these voice. But he was younger man of the 2 Odysseus on the hand of the rest of the speech. Was at first silent and face that speaks upon the ground. There was no playing graceful movements unsuspected. But he had this straight like a matter of sword. What might have been from their pearl or something.
Attackers incoming. Defend objective A.
He raised his voice for words and bragging. I was before the wind. The question did not answer the top. The third, we have to ask our Ajax and ask, who is the building of the warrior who said that Flutter's power over the red paradise? I have to tell him, the chief of us, all of the things that are the next thing, and the leader of the power of the great grant, and all he knows, he can have a house there is a creature, that's all over the whole of the one time, he tell you that you can do my mother time, and the leader of the people, and all about the word, and I'm not nobody. Like our leader of the power of the Indian, or else the man who brought the ships, and not really supposed to be in space, and all that. So you know how the picture is more alive than the first time. You know,
Attack commences in 30 seconds.
wall on this. I think that there's down this week $10 to violate codes by leading medals with an error. As one makes the speech and sends from Axion, 8 years of academic happenings and breaks. Odysseus against the panelists, who will feature them report Pearson, entire mega checks the panelists, and the two hosts will then engage with Rick's mother on the side. Now the couch pursuing students and council on the ball for a while, and then went to plan on pouring out nectar for them to drink as they pledged one another. They were essentially going, they looked right up to town and Troy, but some of the chronos then began to tease Hera, talking about words like super victor, Melos, so he asked the two depends on Joyce's Hera, a father and Ryan. They only sit still and live on about Aphrodite, he said about Paris' side. If you think him and anger, indeed she has to rescue him, but making sure that there is all included with him. Fortunately, really divided Melos. We must consider what we shall do about all this. Shall we set complaining anew, or make peace between them? If you will agree to this last Melos, can take that heaven from Sylvia Freon and remain so inhabited. Athena and Hera might be very discontent.
Bitch ass nigga.
With the sun and all the prudence have it your own way, then pride would have this magic become a better contention between us. I say further, and I might say to your life, if anyone wants to sink a city belonging to one's rules, you must not try to stop me, you will have to let me do, for I am giving it to you, so be against my will, of all inhabited cities, under the sun and stars of heaven, there is none that I shall wish to subject to the free and control of the people, even with feast, for never wincing, or upon altar, or the savior, for no time, which is honored due to ourselves. My own of 3 favorite cities, answered Hera, are all those Sparta, and Mechanic. Say, Sac, them, Senator. We may be displeased with them. I shall not defend them, and I shall not care. Even if I did, I would say I cannot say nothing about it. We call it strong, and I am. But I will not fight my own voice. I too am down in that ways for yourself. And that was his own son, and I know him, and I know also because I'm your wife. And you're all king over the gods. What be a king and what be take between us and the rest of the council follow Ali. Tell Athena to go and take place in the fight at once, and let her contrive that the Trojans shall be the first to break their oaths and set upon the Achaeans, the sire of gods, and then repeated the words. And said to Athena, you go at once and set Trojan Achaean hosts and contrive that the Trojans shall be the first to break their oaths and set upon the Achaeans. This was what Athena was already eager to do. So now she doubted the top of summits of all this. She shot through the sky as a brilliant meteor, which the sun of steaming planets has set the signs and raiders, or some great army of fiery sun light follows its way. Trojans and Achaeans were struck with honor as they beheld, and one would turn into his neighbor, saying, either we shall again have war and die in combat, or is Zeus the Lord of battle, but I make peace between us. Thus the debate verse, that Athena took the form of Lacedaemon, son of Antar, and went through the ranks of the Trojans to find Panaurus, the admirable son of Lycaon. She found him standing among the stalwarts of heroes, who followed him from the banks of the Cyprus. So she went close up to him and said, brave son of Lycaon, will you do as I tell you? If you dare send an arrow at Melos, you will win honor and thanks from all the Trojans, especially from Prince Paris. He will be first to requite you very handsomely if you can see Melos, man's funeral rider, slain by an arrow from your hand. Take your bow, aim at them, and praise Lycaon of Apollo, the famous archer of Iliad. When you get home to a strong city of Iliad, you will offer a hecatomb of first lands in his honor. His fool's heart was persuaded and took his bow from its case. His bow was made from the horns of a wild hippox, which he had killed as it was bound in pearl rock. He had started and had fallen as the arrow struck it to the heart. Its horns were 16 palms long, and a worker that had worn had made them in a bow, smoothing them out and giving them tips of gold. When Panaurus had struck his bow, he moved carefully on the ground, and brave followers held their shields before him lest the Achaeans should set him before he had shot Melos. Then he opened the lip of his quiver and took out a winged arrow that had not even stopped for the things of death. He laid the arrow on a string and prayed to Lycaon, Apollo, the famous archer, and rallying man when he got home to strong city of Zelia, he would offer a hecatomb of first lands in his honor. He laid the notch of the arrow on the outside bowstring, and drew up notch and strings with respect for the arrow that was near the bow. When the bow was arched in half circle, he let it fly, the bow twanged, and the string sang, as the arrow flew blithely on over the heads of the throng. But the Lycaons did not forget the old Melos, and Zeus' daughter, grinding up the spoil, was the first to stand before thee and poured off the piercing arrow. She turned from Athena's mother, whisked fly off from child. When sleeping sweetly, she guided it to power from the golden buckles of the belt that passed over the double first, were fastened, so the arrow struck the belt, those tightly wrapped, and it went right through the curse of the cunning workmanship. It also pierced the belt beneath it. When he wore next to skin to keep out darts or arrows, it was that certain more best to speed. Nevertheless, the arrow went through it and grazed the top of the skin, so that the blood was flowing from the wound. As when the wound of the arrow strained from the eye onto a piece of ivory, this is to be the check piece of horse, and is laid up in treasury house. Many a knight is named Paris, but King uses it as an ornament of which horse and driver may be found. Even so, O Melos, when your shapely thighs and legs stand to your ankles sustained with blood, when King Agamemnon saw the blood flowing from the wound, he was afraid, so did Melos, himself 50,000 bars of the arrow and a thread, and the arrow head to the shaft were still outside the wound. Then he took heart to Agamemnon, he used a deep sigh as he held Melos' hand in his own, and comrades made moaning concert. Dear brother, he cried, I have been the death of you, pledging this covenant, and let me come forward out as your champion. The Trojans have trampled on their oaths, and have wounded you nevertheless. The oath of the blood of lambs, the drink offerings in the right hands of the fellowship in which we have put our trust shall not be vain. If he that rules on this fulfilled not here and now, he will get fulfilled hereafter, and they shall pay eagerly with their lives, and with their wives and children. The day will surely come, and mighty Olymp shall be ready and Gam's people, the son of Cronus, or that friend, shall overshadow them with the awful Aegis. Question. With the present treasury, there shall surely be, but how they'll ask, I'm going to throw out answer that. I shall return to Argos as my word. Issues will ask their come. We shall look for Ram and their children to the glorious of eating home. Therefore, after him, as you lie here, I told your purpose not to fill. They shall some project. I move upon your tongue and say, eating us out of not. Which is heavens. Rock the song in vain. He's got time to his up on experts. And has left Melos behind him. That's roll one of those things and made the earth then swallow me. But Melos took a certain and said, say heart and do not alarm the people. The arrowheads not struck me to mortal heart. For my answer does of British metal, first is traded, and under this my curious end without of mail, look to the boundlessness be me, and Agamemnon answered, I trust your malice, that it must be made, me even so, that the surgeon shall examine your wound, and lay herbs upon it to relieve your pain. He then said his valor to be this, Salutius, Donacion, sons of the great physician, Scipio's, that come and see malice immediately, some Trojan or Lycian Archer has wounded him whenever to our dismay, into our great lord and great glory. So he was as he was told, and looking at this was trying to find Agamemnon, presently he found something in the middle of the glory, so I called him to the back. Later on, he was like to him and said, so that's what he was, Agamemnon, so he went to see malice immediately. So he was into his own great lord, as he's speaking Agamemnon, as Luke to do. They asked him to do this regular place by 8 days, he went on to the point of the malice, had been looking on his line, as he was ready to the rain. Agamemnon had made a ring, and was ripped from the top and his right back, pretty close, because he wasn't having, he under his very sharp and moved close and held it down the right foot, and made it, when I seen the room for my gold, and I find some shooting, should not idea that sleepers, I found clear that I want him. So the other officers came forward against them, but they had cut their armor now in the fight. Even if I found them asleep more comfortably and alone behind the head, that is for the credit. He left Terry Bristol Bronze, he thanked him feet in charge of Eurydion, son of Ultra Polonius, son of Hermes, and Dave held them with the back place. He literally did it, and they were soon peaceful. He was more than a time for the time and place into the front ranks to dive into his walk. My guys, he said, if I can not get the world, I'll take the shoulders, he's a couple of our times. Hermes had him first to the first and we back to the shall be the hour of ulcers. So we shall take it and trust the lives and children of us. And that anybody who did those will be shot shirking, and it's this time that too fast. Our guys, he cried, all these will be shot at the same time. The bombs here, and do a lot of the thing. And he was in the fight, the poison series, this is here, we can reach it, so we reach it, and talk to the mind, so we see what it's not from us, for the and the that's the beginning of the game, so it's not the answer, that's the truth, and the game of the Cretans, the genius, because of their fan, here's the power, wow, Milanius, police, moving, other Italians, not going to be Agamemnon, was badly stopped and circling fairly for Venius, said the entry to the Cretans, and I do other Athenians, but from the wall, all that things, a lot of people, when it was 18 months, times, looking at this, whenever you are running, you're going to balance every second man, before you have to be, Dominius answered, how do you first become an anti-prophecy, because I would be a Christian and team, and my Lord's children to trample upon their friends, so we can be there, seeing they have enough of their victims to attack us, the subject is went on by the heart, till we came upon the Iliad Odyssey, and himself, and the victorious, as we rose, so I was certain by the west wind, glad as he was not in mighty whirlwind, so that he's a marvel of even thus the ranks of solid views and peace and darkness, so my name has law, as if I am releasing all the news and the people. He placed his knights with his chariots and his horses in his front rank, while the rest of the soldiers brave and enemy with trust were here. The cattle see further into the middle, and I find whether they live or no. The soldiers and my chariots getting them all their horses held in hands, so as there would confusion, and then he said, I am on strength and horsemanship, even for others in the with the Persians, yet like when the right time, the whole road left, came to attack. He's moving into heavy, very purpose here, represent, listening much sense. This is how my goals are kept, and stand there to the lives of their own life. Rest of the heavens are for the heaven, and the name of the kingdom of the month. This is what I was said, the hands of the ones who are so as a friend, the Jews are the good, the least, the content of them, and the service of all you, who are high and come from others, and use the young, and that's not the dream. And I just say, this I see, the word, and we know that you guys, you know what we're doing, and we also want to hear everything at home, the same time, I was saying, and now I'm going to try to get them also, and then have that here, the willing to see that, we can put it to our young, smarter than our second member, yes, the way the voice and public income, next to others, You are talking out of me. What happened on solid with he's not pleasant yet. And the words, music, service and workers, takes some more defense. I've never talked about your workers being, I know your heart is fighting and I don't make the lens for what I said. And I know little has now has been serving. Maybe the gods forget to know nothing. He didn't let men went on to one others. And presently he saw the son of genius know that I went. Anyway, so the words is something else. So I think it's exactly what I'm going to say. He said, and now we do want to be out. He's not straight us. There was ever a head of going to be at all. It's the so that he's saying this out of him. Now we're on this out of our house. He came across an idiot. Not doing that. He gets to the places we use this in the war. This round city of peace and get up with our body different. I mean, we're really going to have the shoes to split it. I feel when I get to the homes, because I heard voices. Look at their way. And I hope that people have a retro next to somebody. Every piece of heavies. And then we're going to some rich master and blatant second cancer for living in the lands that have had speech language, diverse, and they came from many places. These ones fired at Aries, batteries of females were unpaid, craft and sky. We steer never tires, sister had a murderous Aries, who from game at first, but these pictures are still keeping years, and that's in the title of the and human. When they were not together, we went places, we found the shield, the spirit, wait for battle, the boss is sure, speak well, and there was a time, also a great multitude, the fire for slain and slayers, and the river ran over, as once the sword of the rain, the sun be back with each other, so and the second case all use their war in profile, even such was full of trouble, the first time people get out, first, that's it first, so we went on war with the Trojans at first, second, and others, like in the form of strength, he struck it, but they can find the descendant, road, the spirit is his back, and the part of the ground, and darkness man designs, and all the fire, because of time, and wrapped me, but the started to talk about, we passed the path of assets, began to ready, and faced the stripping of his armor, off the wall, animal, saw his hand over the body away, and so inside his bones and shots here, glanced his physical side up like a rubbish here, and touched the ear, the ground was waiting with tears over his body, and people finally covered up walls, like for anyone or another, put lit, thanks to some alive, soon appeared you, said no to you, so Anthony on, whom his mother bore by the veins of Simonius, and she was coming out after that, where she had been preparing to split blocks, therefore his name to Leslie, recognized his fingers, and was pretty good, and he was caught and found to see the mighty gas, he struck in the breast, by the right nipple, as he was one of the almost fighters, he was going through the shoulder, by the popular, and his blood showed there, and then behind you, in a top of the branches, the wheel like, placed his ass, two tourists, and the passion of belly, good wheel, some good to carry, so he was second anyone, and then, pressing through the cold as it is but all the look at from Bruce and cold lives to Bruce to the thing so to speak on some of the other yourselves you must be in our house your things are not staying on that will make it easy to on the bones and both the tendons, the crushing to the skull, because the general dragging his head first, just kind of pain full power, so it just had moved him straight up in the first year of his belly, so there's that some gut head on down, and that was very desired, as he waited on, there was our failure, stress from his head here, on 167 his lungs, so came close up from one spear over his head and round forward, so from the belly, so that head down, and he had stripped him of his armor, operation bomb, so where the hair and top, on the top of their heads, spin down the body and catch him off the long spears, 40 spears, texture and power, so he was here and back, because the two forces went stretched on earth, near to one another, the one captain operations, another that begins, and many another fell around them, and now the man who would have made promise of the fighting, that he could have gone among the vast and escaped us unwounded, was Athena leading him by the hand which came him from the sword spears and arrows holding from Nathan's on that day, side by side, face downwards on earth.
Book 5. The exploits of the Iliad, who, though wounded by Pandarus, continues fighting. He kills Pandarus and wounds Aeneas. After that, he rescues Aeneas, but wounded by Iliad, commits him into the care of Apollo and goes to Olympus, where she is injured by the Iliad. Ares encourages the Trojans, and Aeneas returns to Thyne's cure of his boon. Athena and Hera help the Achaeans, and by the advice of the former Iliad, wounds Ares, who returns to Olympus to get cured. Then Pallas Athena put valor into the heart of Iliad, son of Titus, that he might excel all the other Argives and cover himself the world. She made a stream of fire flare from his shield, and Comet, like the star that shines most brilliantly in summer after its bath in the waters of Oceanus. Even such a fire did she kindle upon his head and shoulders, and she bade him speed into the thickest, early glory of the fight. Now there was a certain rich and honorable man among the Trojans, priest of Theseus, and his name was Darius. He had two sons, Theseus and Peleus, both from skill in all arts of war. These two came forward from the main body of Trojans, and set up Iliad, leading on foot while he fought from their chariot. When they were close up to one another, Theseus took him first, and that by his spear went over Diomed's left shoulder, baptizing him. Diomed then threw his spear, set not in vain, for it hit Theseus on the breast near the middle, and fell from this chariot. Theseus did not dare to describe his wounded body, but fell from the chariot and took him by flight. Oh, if he would have shared his brother's sins, for all the pieces saved him by reckoning him as proud darkness, that his own father, by not luckily overwhelmed with grief, but the son of Theseus rode off with his horses, and gave his followers fatal pictures. The Trojans were scared when they saw the use of Ares, one of them in front, and the other on the dead chariots. Athena therefore took Ares by the hands, and Ares gave them like some that swung of the cities. Maybe not leading the Trojans visions to fight about, and to see what he used by the good. Thou should say, Hebrew, that has carried away, thus I won't be hungry. So saying, he drew Ares from the temple, and set him down upon the steep of the such wonder, upon the mounts, and those Trojans had in the cities where their chieftains stood before. First king Agamemnon, one like the easy of Iliad, after one was on his terror. The spear of Agamemnon, Agamemnon brought out his bag, just as he was turning in flight, and struck him between the shoulders, and with the full chest and all his armor, laying rattling down the walls and helping him to the ground. And Idomeneus killed Croesus, son of Horus of the Leonian, who had come from Barn. Mighty Idomeneus stared down from right shoulder as he counted his kills, and the darkness of death and shouted him as he felt heavily from the far. The squires of Idomeneus spoiled him of his armor, brought Melas, son of Hebrews, killed St. the son of Sophius, mighty husband of King of the Arcades, Arcades himself, the father of Troy, and the father of Horus, and his shield was finished with the knee, who also the whole spear of Melas, struck him from the back as he was fighting, so he was between the shoulders, and the his chest, so that he cut him out with his armor and rather than Melas, the then of Troy, Douglas, the son of Atar, who was the son of Herma, a man whose hand was skilled in all manner of cunning workmanship, for Pallas Athena had a dearly loved friend. He it was that made the ships with Paris, which promoted the beating of all the ship, and brought people across both on prudence and upon himself, for he heeded not the decree of heaven, Uranus, overtook him as he was flying, and struck him on the right buttock. But the point of the spear went through the bone into the matter, and that came upon him as he cried aloud and cut forward on his knees. Moreover, Sophius, son of Antiphon, who he was an master and cut out by Nero, and told the Sirius, who was the water, and some fires, and got close to him, and drove a spear into the left of his neck, and went under his tongue all among his teeth, so he hit the four times and fell into death. And Ruth Nicholas, son of Leon, first at his mother, the son of Nicholas, again the his older surrenders, and his father among the people, and so he did not, he was the gate and gate of his father before him, so he made his sword come upon the mouth of his father and on his pocket. The table had no end on its own, received the battle as between them, at the strength, did not say whether he was more among the teachings or students, he was the back playing up a wicked one as was the period, and all that, when also the Leos, and then, as the Leos swallowed the name of the moments of his very life, and lays me up even loose, that made a strong on his own half the bed, even so with the dead skeletons, how the students driven him out of the Sophius, and many and very good words, and dirty out of all his eyes. Now when the sun of the good out, the swallowed, then ran the Trojans down around the wolf, and the angle arrow of the forecock of the Pyrrhus, near the forward, the head went right through the neck of the Pyrrhus, so the Pyrrhus was coming from, on the son of Achaeon, having the next Trojans come out of the Pyrrhus, and the Achaeans wounded, and he will not know the son, and the king of Apollo was indeed with the rest of the record, but 51. but the with three and made the first story of forces and the some of the enemies. Here some of the enemies each other. Cut down from your charity and draw that arrow on my shoulder. Sabellus strangles 30 from through the arrow through the door around the block and said they have through the whole I had to make. They can strip and die my friend, saying, "It be not your age, very teach and very level. If every one of my father will should I have been through a pick of a fight. Even like that, I will make it from the spirit of the hand of God. Even if you put me under me, and I was patient and I cannot see the light of sun no longer. As you think, and also be a freedom. She made his limbs to someone putting his hands on sweet. Then she went up close to him and said, "I did not do the students, for I have set in your heart to sleep in that with other deeds. Moreover, I have found the veil from the eyes, that you will find in their heart.
Get in there.
If she chooses daughter after that, he comes back to live your spirit in order. When she has said this, a female runs away. The son of Patty supposed to discuss among too much matters. 3 times more fierce even than he had been before. He was like a lion as an angry shepherd had wounded. And I feel actually screaming over the wall, the shepherd said,
I'm a man on a mission. Stay out of my way.
The root theory was not against rocks. Any control that other under visions. While the sheep plant stricken on being deserted, are smothered in heaps, one on top of the other. And the angry lion leaps out of the shipyard. While even thus the deer of your fiercely guys made Trojans. He killed Ascanius and Hyperion, shepherd of his people. The one with the thrust of the spear was burned up in the day. The other with the sword cut out of the He served his soul over both and came back. He went both with a lion and pursued on us. And Polybius, some of the lion dreamed of dreams. He realized that everything back that was a weak and only foolish to one demon. Made it everything. He had the Acacian Alphas and King, the 2 sons of Aeneas. Both by them. Every user and he was now going out with his age and he had to know something for his possessions. But the others took up their lives and left their fathers following bitterly. But he never saw them come home from back to their land. And his prison God was not among themselves. Then he killed 2 sons of Brian, Econom and Phineas, as they were both in those areas. He strove to find them as on wearing passes on the next one Hyper. And with the third is
Get over here,
the brother of struggles, he bound them both in their carriers and stripped all upon their bodies. Then he gave their horses to his comrades to pick up after the ships. When he was shot and they were having more against, he went through the fight from those spirits to see if he could find on ours. When he found the great son of Hyper, he said, "I was ready to your leading arrows and every man as an archer. First, I was known out here from rifle, you know what I was advising him. And he lived in the things he's used to some of the other aspects like who he's doing to after 45. And that guns are going to be working on the Trojans. He has killed many every man unless indeed he is some God. He was angry with the Trojans about their sacrifices and has set up his hand against them. And the son of Michael answered, and he has taken from none other than the son of Hades, and not by his shield, but by his of his helmet, and by his horses. It is possible that he may be a God. But if he is the man I say he is not making all that havoc without putting stuff, but has some God by his side who is shrouded in cloud of darkness and has turned my arrow aside and hit him. I have taken aim at him already and hit him on the right shoulder. My arrow went through the breastplate of spirits, and I made sure I knew him. New lost trade over the and like so there's some that horses checking about the with me again when I look at the horse and the chariots and horses with me that I have to be out of the house it was my ultimate instruction but I was looking at the horses and I was afraid of the shadow and then I be okay so I left them at home and came on with the Iliad I'll name with my bow and arrows this seems on the use but I have already looked at chieftains the sons of Atreus and Atlas and everyone surely enough I can only make them somewhat furious I did take my bow down from its plate on the day I went down to Iliad and the Petrus Hills and I did 100 and I had the first one and the first my house was saying I put the will say on my fire, so friends agitated me. Phineas wants to say that weapons not known to the Jew, against the night cherry, which the room to fire arms. National cherry, and every your horse cross, and see from your brother, claim for super She did not search the Lord, he was in the fire, so from the ship back to the city, and all the good and all hand upon the carpet light, where she was in the house of the horses, and his friends are like the rings and the cloud, the back of the horse, and the fire, and the horse, and the book will attack, and we got to these things out of fight, sometimes on the horse, and the horses, and the weapons, and saying the horses here and make the rings after the middle and be sure you stay in horses and grab them from the prison and the rings. They all decide that great disease game close and pull the sun video and all the guys that move under the sun for that night. So all the 125 things that is going to go in the box and the 164. Now I'm sure the tables that we have achieved with the English. We shall bring their boy to the victim. That's what they first. But I actually have that first of them. We shall break down so first. Written like you said, I feel like that's my other book and then you know the shot and that's how you might hear. And here's the spirit of the forward of the struggle shoulders and the praise. The last part of the spirit of the time spirit of Lisa Hector. They are the son of Iapon. Shout it out and say that you are dead. You can tell and do like I have a rock and a gift. Forgive it on the name of the answer. You have missed out and before you see them with the shielded Ares with his blood.
No
He
rest
spear
for the
flew high,
weary.
all the Dionysus knows near high. And when crashing in amongst my teeth, the bronze points cut through the reach of his tongue, coming out under his skin, and listening on the ring and ramble, and the voice sounded in his head with fear, and he felt that power of his friend. And he has his friend, his friend, his his shield, his shield, he will last over him for 40 hours without. He was struck with it, and he was tired of strength. But he was before him, and tired of all the was present, the first of the great reason, that the son of Atlas, had the mighty stones of people.
I've got you in my sights. Mission ain't over.
Yes, I think I my friend with the whole road their hands, thus and I should rather spirit to his best in heaven. Thus then, the nation bear for your son, I'll take a time. But the son of Atlas was not mindful of the orders that you had given him. He made his own forces fast, away from the hurry glory, by binding the reins to the rim of charge, and every song upon Aces' horses, the road was open to 80 ranks, when the answer of the year, which was chosen from any believing those, for whom we value above all others, as the one who was like-minded with himself, to take on to mischiefs, and every man out his own chariot, seized the reins, and drove with all speed in search of the son of Atlas. Now, son of Atlas will proceed from that reading by his spear in hand, for he knew where to be feeble, not one thousand, that when more than 1 million miles, the race Europe sees, and then there's the last, that flows in the veins of the gods and pouring from the womb. For the gods do not eat bread or drink wine, which they have no blood such as ours, and are immortal. After that he screamed aloud, and let her son fall, but Otis Apollo caught him in his arms, and hid him in a cloud of darkness, lest some now should grant a spear to his breast and kill him. Dealing chat the hound and sea laughter, daughter of Zeus, lead war and battle alone, can you not be contented with beguiling silly woman? If you meddle with fighting, you will get what it will, make you shudder at the very note of war. The goddess once days and is comforted away, and Iris, fleet as the wind, drew her from the throng, in the flame that lifted her skin, all besmirched. She found fierce Ares weeping on the left of the council, with the spear and his 2 fleet steeds resting on her cloud, whereon she fell on her knees before her brother and implored him to let her have his horses. You brother, she cried, save me and give me the horses to take me to Olympus, where the gods dwell. I am madly wounded by a mortal, son of Atlas, who would now fight even with father Zeus. Just as she spoke, and Ares gave her his sword to his steeds, she ran to the chariot, sick and sorry, and a heart, Iris sat beside her, and took the reins in her hand. She lashed her horses on, and they flew forward. Nothing at all. Till in the forest they went high and Olympus, with the gods had their bow. There she saved them, and unloosed them from the chariot, and made them the air and rose the authority. But after that he flung herself on the lap and went she threw her arms about her and cursed her, saying, which of the enemy doings has been treating you in this way, as though you had been doing something wrong in the face of day? And after loving after that, and Abigail and son of Atlas, wounded me with that family of your son Venus, who I love best of all I had, out of the fight. The Lord is no longer one between 30 maidens for their lives, after I was fighting with the mortals. Therefore my child replied to me, and therefore I said, I should put out with much of the hands of men, when we lay much suffering on one another. Ares had suffered when Otis and Atlas, children of Alos, bound him and pulled on, so that he like 13 months in prison in a vessel of bronze. Ares would have been perished had not fair Arabella, set mother to the sons of Alos at home, Hermes, who stole him away when he was pretty well nigh worn out of the severity of his bondage. Hera again suffered in the mighty son of Atlas. Wounded her on the right west, and 3 on every looking thing. The son of the pain, so to the Hades, who was saying the man, and the son of Aegis during the Zeus, hit him with an arrow, he had the gates of hell, and hurt him badly. Thereon Hades went to the house of Zeus, unbreaking with this, angry and full of pain, man. The arrow in the brawny shoulder caused him great anguish, till Hagar healed him by spreading soothing herbs on the wound, for Hades was not a mortal mold, daring headstrong evil doer, who granted not to descend and keep with the gods that dwell in Olympus. And now Athena has edged his son on Titius all against herself, who he is not reflecting that in there because of gods, will live long, or hear his children trampling about his knees, when he returns from battle, let them then the son of Titus see that he is not half surprised, but one be stronger than you are. Then shall his great wife Algalia, daughter of Isis, rouse her full house, and sleep away them to the loss of her red lord, and even to wait till the Athenians. So saying, she wiped the acre from her wrist with honor with both hands, whereon the pain left her, and her hand was healed. But Athena and Hera, who were looking on the ancient taunted Zeus with their mocking talk. And Athena was first to speak. Father Zeus said to you, do not be angry with me, but I think that Hyperion must have been persuading some of the Athenian women to go with the Trojans, of whom she is so very fond, and while caressing one or other of them, she must have torn her delicate hand with the gold pin of the woman's brook. The sire of gods and men smiled, and holding Aphrodite, she beside, my child, said he, it has not been given you to be a warrior, attend henceforth to your intellectual matrimonial duties, and leave all this fighting to Ares and to Athena. Thus they conversed, and Agamemnon sprang upon Aeneas, though he knew him to be in the very arms of Apollo. Not one lifted did he fear the mighty god, so set was he on killing Aeneas and stripping him of his honor. Thrice did he spring forward with might
might and main to slay him, and Christ that Apollo beat back his gleaming shield when he was coming on for 4 times as the word of God. Apollo shouted to him with an awful voice and said, Take heed, the son of Tydeus, and draw off, think not to match yourself against the gods, for men that walk the earth do not hold their own within mortals. The son of Tydeus then gave way for a little space to avoid the anger of the god, while Apollo took Aeneas out of the crowd and set him in sacred Pergamus, where the temple stood. There within the mighty sanctuary Latona, and Artemis secured him, and made his glories to behold, while Apollo of the silver bow fashioned the wraith in the likeness of Aeneas, and armed as he was, bound as the Trojans and Achaeans pant at the bucklers about one another's breast, stealing each other's round shields and right-high covered targets. Then Phoebus Apollo said, Ares, bane of men, bloodspainer of Somer of cities, can you not go to this man, the son of Tydeus, who would now fight even with Father Zeus, and draw him out of the battle? He first went up to Hyperion, and wounded her in the hand near her wrist, and afterwards sprang upon me too, as though he were a god. He then took his seat on top of Pergamus, while murderous Ares went about among the ranks of the Trojans, stirring them on in likeness of the fleet of Atlas, chief of the Thracians, son of Priam. Said he, How long will you let your people be thus slaughtered by the Achaeans? Will you wait until they are at the walls of Troy? Aeneas, the son of Anchises, has fallen. He would be held in high honor as Hector himself. Help me then to rescue our brave comrade from the stress of the fight. With these words he put a heart and soul into them all. Then Sarpedon rebuked Hector very sternly. Hector, said he, Where is your palace now? You used to say that though you had neither people nor allies, you could hold the town alone with your brothers and brothers-in-law. I see not one of them here. They cower at towns before a line. It is we, your allies, who bear the brunt of the battle. I have come from afar, even from Lafayette, from the banks of the river Xanthus, where I have left my wife, my infant son, and much left attention whoever is needed. Nevertheless, I head my Lycian soldiers and stand my ground against any who fight me, though I have nothing here for the Achaeans to plunder. You look on without even bidding your men stand firm in defense of their lives. See that you fall not into the hands of your foes as men caught in the meshes of a net. And this act refers to you forthwith. Keep this before your mind night and day. Beseech your captains of your allies to hold on without flinching and press away their reproaches from you. So spoke Sarpedon, and Hector smarted under his words. He sprang up from his chariot and climbed into armor, and wanted out to make a post of vanishing his 2 series, goading the men to fight, and raising the feral cry of battle. Then they rallied and again faced the Achaeans without a stick and packing firm, and were not driven back. As the breeze swords with which half upon some goopy friction floor, then men went on now a little winnow. While the oak series blows and with the wind sift the shaft of holy grain, and as Hector's robe wither and wither, even so did the Achaeans, white in the dust, horses hoofs raised the firmament of heaven, as their drivers turned them back to battle, and they bore them down with might upon the foe. Fierce Ares that helped the Trojans covered them in a veil of darkness, and went about everywhere among them, inasmuch as Phoebus Apollo had told him when he saw Valus Athena lead of the trade. He was to encourage in the hearts of the Trojans, for it was she who was helping the Ammons. Then Apollo sent Aeneas forth from his rich sanctuary, and filled his heart with valor, whereon he took his place among his comrades, who were overjoyed at seeing him alive, sound and of good courage, but they could not ask him how it had all happened, for they were too busy with the turmoil raised by Ares and by strife, who raged insatiably in their midst. The 2 Ajaxes, Odysseus and Diomed, cheered the Danaans on, fearless of the fury and onset of the Trojans. They stood as still as clouds which the son of Cronos has spread upon the mountains tops, when there is no air and fierce glorious, sleeps of other boisterous winds whose shrill blasts scatter the clouds in all directions. Even so did the Danaans, and firm on pushing against the Trojans, son of Atreus went to have among them with them. My friends, said he, put yourselves on great men and show dishonor in one another's eyes amid the stress of the battle. They that shown dishonor more often live than get killed, but they that fly say need a life or name. As he spoke, he hurled his spear and hit one of those who were on the front rank, the comrade of Aeneas, son of Pyrrhus, whom the Trojans held in no less honor than the sons of Priam, for he was ever quick to place himself among the foremost. The spear of King Agamemnon struck his shield, and went right through it, for the shield stayed not. It drove through his belt into the lower part of his belly, and the armor rang rattling round him as he fell heavily to the ground. Then Aeneas killed 2 champions of the Danaans, Phaethon and Phorcys. Their father was a rich man who lived in the strong city of Phaera, and was descended from the river Alphus, whose broad stream flows through the land of the Philenians. The river begat Orlisthus, who ruled over much people, and the fathers Diocles, who in his turn begat twin sons Phaethon and Orsilis, well skilled in all the arts of war. These, when they grew up, went to Ilium, and with Argive fleet in the cause of Menelaus and Agamemnon's sons of Atreus. There they both of them fell, as 2 lions, whom their dam was reared in the depths of some mountain forest to plunder homesteads, and carry off sheep and cattle till they got killed by the hand of man. So were these 2 vanquished by Aeneas, and fell like high pine trees to the ground. Brave Menelaus pitied them in their fare, and made his way to the front, fighting gleaming bronze and brandishing his spear, for Ares ate him on to do so with intent that he should be killed by Aeneas. By Antipas, but the son of Nestor saw him and sprang forward, fearing that the king might come to harm and thus bring all their labor to nothing. When therefore Aeneas and Menelaus were setting their hands and spears against one another, eager to do battle, Antipas placed himself outside of Menelaus. Aeneas, the more fair he was, drew back on seeing the 2 heroes side by side in front of him. So they drew the bodies of Phaethon and Orsilis, the ranks of the Achaeans, and committed the 2 poor fellows into the hands of their comrades. They then turned back and fought in the front ranks. They killed Pylaemenes, Theodares, leader of the Paphlagorogaian warriors. Menelaus struck him on the collarbone as he was standing on his chariot, while Antipas hit his chariot here, and Squire Maon, the son of Asphenius, who was turning his horses in place. He hit him with a stone upon the elbow and hit the reins, and which with white ivory fell from his hands into the dust. Antipas rushed towards him and struck him on the temples with his sword, whereon he fell head first from the chariot till he found. There he stood for a while his head and shoulders very deep in the dust, for he had fallen on sandy soil till his horses kicked him and laid him flat on the ground. As Antipas lashed at them and drove them off to the host of the Achaeans, but Hector marched them from across the ranks, and allowed the cry to rush towards them, followed by the strong battalions of the Trojans. Ares and dread Ango led them on. She cried with ruthless turmoil on battle, while Ares wielded a monstrous spear and went about now in front of Hector, and now behind him. Diomed struck with passion as he saw them, as men in crossing a wide plain. He's dismayed to find himself in the river somewhere near the wall and to the sea. He sees its boiling waters and starts back in fear. Even so did some tigers give ground, and then he said to his men, my friends, how can we wonder what Hector means to fear so much? Some god is ever by his side to protect him, and now Ares is with him in the likeness of mortal man. Eager faces therefore towards the Trojans, but give ground backwards from the fight of gods. As he spoke, the Trojans drew close up, and Hector told the two men, both in one chariot, Menethesius and Antilochus, heroes well versed in war. Ajax, son of Telamon, 50 dead in their fall. He came close up and hurled the spear, hitting Hephaestus, the son of Peleus, a man of great wealth who lived in Hephaestus, and owned a bunch of corn, growing land that his life had led him to come to the aid of Priam and his sons. Ajax struck him in the belly, and spear pierced the lower part of his belly, and he fell heavily to the ground. Then Ajax ran towards him to strip him off of his armor, but the Trojans rained spears upon him, many of which fell upon his shield. He fighted his heel upon the body and drew out his spear, but the darts pressed so heavily upon him that he could not strip the armor from his shoulders. Trojans, Teuthons, moreover many Amazons, came about him with their spears, so that he dared not stay. Great to brave and valiant as though he was, they drove in front of him, and he was beaten back. Thus then, the battle raged between them, presently a strong hand of Fates and Pellet, son of Olympus, the son of Hercules, a man both brave and men of great stature, the knight Sarpedon. So the two, son and grandson of great Zeus, drew near to one another and said to Olympus, spoke first Sarpedon, said he, canst thou the Lycians, why should you come skulking here? Who you are, a man of peace, so they lie, who call you son of Aegis and Zeus, for you my own brave and lion-hearted father, who come here for the house of the land Midian, and though he has his ships only, and few men to follow his sides the city of Iliad, and the wilderness of their highways, you are a coward, and your people are fallen from you, for all your strength and all your ability from Mysia, you will be of help to the Trojans, they will pass the gates of Hades vanquished by my hand, and Sarpedon equalizing his answer to Olympus, your father, for your that's the reason of Mydion's folly in refusing payment to one who had served him well. He would not give you, your father, the horses which he had come so far to fetch, as for yourself. You shall meet to death by my spear. You shall yield glory to myself and your soul to Hades of noble steeds. Thus spoke Sarpedon, and Tephilomus raised the spear. They threw at the same moment, and Sarpedon strode his bow in the middle of his throat. The spear went right through the darkness of death, fell upon his eyes. Tephilomus' spear struck Sarpedon on the left eye, such force had tortured the flesh and grazed the bone. But his father, as he warded off destruction from him, his comrades bore Sarpedon out for the fight, in great pain by the ways of the spear that was dragging from his wound. They were in such haste and stress as they bore him, that no one thought of drawing the spear from his side, so nice that let him walk away. Meanwhile, the Athenians carried off life to Olympus, whereon Odysseus was moved to pity, and panted for the prey as he beheld them. He doubted whether to pursue the son of Zeus, or to make slaughter of the Lycian rank and file. It was not decreed, however, that he should son of Zeus. Athena therefore turned him against the main body of the Lycians. He killed Coriolanus, Alastor, Promeus, Alcinous, Alius, Nomon, and Critaeus, and would have slain yet more, had not great Hector marked him in respect to the friends of the fight, clad in a suit of mail, filling the Danaans with terror. Sarpedon was glad when he saw him coming. He besought him, saying, Sarpedon, let me not be here to fall into the hands of the Danaans. Help me, and since I may not return home, to gladden the hearts of my wife and my infant son, let me die within the walls of your city. Hector made him no answer, but rushed onward to fall at once upon the Athenians, and killed many among them. His comrades then bore Sarpedon away, and laid him beneath Zeus's spreading oak tree. Pelagon, his friend and comrade, threw the spear under the side, but Sarpedon, fainting in the mist, came over his eyes. Presently he came to himself again, for the breath of the north wind, as it hit upon him, gave him new life, and brought him out of the deep swoon into which he had fallen. Meanwhile, the Argives were neither driven towards their ships by Ares and Hector, nor yet did they attack them when they knew that Ares was with the Trojans. They retreated, but kept their faces still turning towards the foe. Who then was first, and who was last to be slain by Ares and Hector? They were valiant Tethras and Orestes, the renowned charioteer Prephas, the Achillean warrior Ionomas, and Helenus the son of Nepomos, and Erotheus, the gaming girl, who was possessed of great wealth, and dwelt by the Sebastian lake with the other Boeotians who lived near, and owners of the fertile country. And when the goddess Hera saw the Argives thus falling, she said to Athena, Alas, not fair ladies and Zeus unmarital, the vows we made have been alas, that he should not return until he had sacked the city of Ilium, will be of no thanks if he let Ares rage us furiously, let us go into the fray at once. Athena did not gainsay her. Thereon the august goddess, daughter of the great Cronos, began to harness her gold bedizened steeds, having with all speed fitted on the eight with wheels of bronze along either side of the iron axle tree. The bellies of the wheels were gold and perishable, and over these were their tied of bronze, wondrous to behold. The naves of the wheels were silver, turning round the axle on either side. The car itself was made with plated bands of gold and silver, and it had a double top railing running all around it. From the body of the car there went a ball of silver, onto the end of which she band rolling yoke with the bands of gold, and were to go under the necks of the horses. Then Hera led her steeds under the yoke, eager for mantle and war cry. Meanwhile, Athena flung her richly embroidered vesture made with her own hands into her father's threshold, and domed the shirt of Zeus, arming herself for battle. She threw her castled Aegis over her about her shoulders, wreathed around with rout as with a fringe, and on it were strife and strength and panic, whose blood ran swollen. Moreover, there was the head of the great monster Gorgon, driven off to behold portent of the Aegis bearing Zeus on her head, as she set her helmets of gold with four plumes, including two peaked both in front and behind, decked with emblems of 100 cities. Then she stepped into her flaming chariot, grasped with spear, so sat and sturdy and strong, but which she swells the ranks of the heroes who had displeased her. Hera latched the horses on, and the gates of heaven bellowed as they flew open on their own accord, gates over which the hours preside, in which hands of heaven and Olympus, either to open the dense cloud that hides them, or to close it. These the goddesses drove their obedient steeds, and found the son of Cronos sitting all alone on the topmost ridges of Olympus. There Hera set free her horses, and spoke to Zeus, the son of Cronos, lord of all. Father Zeus, said she, are you not angry, Ares, for these high doings? How great and good the host of the Achaeans he has destroyed my grief, and without either right or reason, while the Caperian and Apollo are enjoying all all at their ease, and saying this unrighteous madman Han to do further mischief. I hope Father Zeus I do not be angry if I hit Ares hard and chase him out of battle. And Zeus answered to set Athena onto him, for if she punches him, or other than anyone else does. Hera did as he had said. She lashed her horses and they flew forward, nothing love but light betwixt earth and sky, as far as the man can see. And when he looks down upon the sea from some high beacon, so far in the loud nine horses of the gods spring at single bound. When they reach Troy, in the place where his two flowing streams, Sinless and Scamander meet, there Hera stayed them and took them form of their chariot. She hid them in thick cloud, and Cineas made Ambrosia spring up for them to eat. The two goddesses then went on flying like turtle doves in their eagerness to help our gods. When they came to the car, and the bravest and most in number were gathered about mighty Diomed, fighting like lions or wild boars of great strength and endurance, there Hera stood still and raised a shout that like that of a brazen voice the centaur, whose cry was as loud as that of 50 men together. Our gods, she cried, shame on cowardly creatures for even semblance only, as long as Achilles was fighting. Yet the spear was so deadly that the Trojans did not show themselves outside the Barbarian gates, but now they sallied far from the city and fight even at their ships. But these words she put heart and soul into them all, while Athena strength the sight of the son of Tydeus, whom she found near his chariot with horses feeling the wound that Pandarus had given him. For their sweet cries round the hand and blowed away with his shield, he was the first his arms shared the word of the faith, that he broke the left the strength of the light of life, and that's later than the risen said, the son of Tydeus and not the son of Tydeus is one among the people time, he was not used, even I told him not to use it, when he went to attend as envoy to the city of Thebes, among the Cadmeans, I made him feast in their houses, and being at feast, but with your high spirit, which as he was ever present with him, he challenged the youth of the Cadmeans, and at once put them in that he attempted so mightily to help him, I stand by you to protect you, I bid you by instant and fighting Trojans, but either you are tired out, or you are afraid, and out of cards, and in that case I say that you are the son of Tydeus, the son of Oniasus. And Simon answered, I know you are the daughter of Aegis and Zeus, and I do nothing from you. I am not afraid, nor have the power, nor is there any slackness in me. I am only following your instructions. You told me not to Tydeus any but bless God, but Zeus' daughter and her knighted king's castle. I was to wound her with my spear. Therefore I am retreating and bidding the other Argives gather in this place. For I know that Ares is now lording it in the field. And I am the son of Tydeus and Athena, man after my own heart, fear neither Ares, nor any other of the mortals, for I will defend you. And they drive straight at Ares, and stand in the field, and that you're not asleep in the doing the power, and the father, and that he is holding top of the earth, and myself, and said, and I am supposed to be true, and let them off the chariot under the ground. In the second, he was on the ground where among the goddesses meant and placed himself by the side of Diomed. The book and axle ran under the burden of all the goddess and the hero of Atlas-Atman, took the living reins and drove straight to Ares. He was an act of stricken huge Peratus, son of Oceasus, the race of Actilians. Bloody Ares was stricken him with his honor, and Athena him with the helmet of Hades, that he might not see her. When therefore he saw Diomed, he made straight for him and let Peratus lie where would he have fallen. As soon as they were in close quarters, the left thigh was a bronze spear over the reins and yoke. Thinking to take Diomed's life, Athena cut the spear in her hand and made it fly harmlessly over the chariots. Diomed then threw undergirdle went around him, and there Diomed wounded him, tearing his fair flesh, and then drawing his spear out again. Ares' lord is now as 9,000 men with thick behind, and Athens and Trojans have struck the cannon. So currently he cried he rose. Then heaven was held, and goes on for the Lord, he feels so great. Diomed, son of Tydeus, see Ares, over the friends, with all speed, reduced high over the sun of God, and came to the side of Zeus and Cronus. He showed Zeus in the northern love by swelling up his wound, and spoke piteously, saying, Father Zeus, are you not angry by such feelings? We gods are continually suffering in a merciful manner at one another's hands without loving mortals, and we all owe you a grudge for having begotten that red. Sir Magans, of an answer who is always committing outrage of some kind. We other gods must all do as you did us, but you neither scold nor punish. You encourage her because of the pestilent creature is your daughter. See how she has been inciting Father Diomed to advance his rage on the mortal gods. First he went out to the Cyprian and wounded her in the hand near her wrist, and then he sprang upon the two hands that he were of God. I had not known this. I was needed that name that for longer up and falling some way advancing with me, or if I can do my hair, the spears that I had used to touch him. Zeus, with every friend is looking at her, so facing my praise. He was all my praise, for you are ever back to me making mischief. You have the intolerable son and spirit of my Hera. It is all I can do to manage her, and it is for doing that you are now in this time. Still, I cannot let you remain longer in suffering pain. You are my own offspring, and it was by me that your mother conceived you. If, however, you had been the son of any other god, you are so destructive that by this time you should have been lying lower than the Titans. He then bade Theon heal him, whereon Theon spread pain-killing herbs upon his wound and cured him, for he was not a mortal mole, as the juice of a fig tree curdles milk, and thickens in a moment though it is liquid. Even so instantly did Theon cure fierce Ares, then Heaven washed him, and clothing him in goodly raiment, and he took his seat by his father Zeus, all glorious to behold. But Hera of Argos and Athena of Alcmene, now that they had put a stop to the murderous doings of Ares, went back again to the house of Zeus.